I've been meaning to talk about this for at least a day now. So, as we know, Republicans don't care about governance. They don't care about running the country. As bad as the Democrats are in a lot of cases, they are at the very least competent bureaucrats. I think that for the most part, the Democrats are interested in, maintaining the artifice, right? They want to keep the lights on. Republicans don't care. So we have now a letter from the House Freedom Caucus of the GOP threatening government shutdown. Congress is in session just 3 days before a partial government shutdown begins on the 1st of March. We need lower spending levels and real policy wins. Let's take a look at some of these policy wins they're hinging their support for a budget bill on. Let's go. The House Republican Conference's significant work on appropriations for fiscal year 2024 resulted in 10 of 12 bills passed out of committee, 7 sent to the Senate with hundreds of amendments considered and adopted. This has not happened in many years. Cool. While far from perfect, the bills spent at or below the actual text of the Fiscal Responsibility Act offered a meaningful step toward restoring regular order and presented an opportunity to reduce spending and reverse many of President Biden's harmful policies. We request an update on the appropriations negotiations, including but not limited to the provisions supported by overwhelming majorities of Republicans and our constituents, such as language to prohibit funding for use of CBP-1 or similar applications that facilitate the parole of millions of illegal aliens into the United States, reducing Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas's salary to $0. That's it. I'm not kidding. The House Freedom Caucus is literally saying, like, we should consider holding up funding the government unless we're able to secure these wins as well, such as this guy we don't like should make $0. Yeah, a very serious party with very serious, real policy wins. Defund the Pentagon's illegal abortion travel fund, prohibit funding for the implementation of gun registries and red flag laws, defund ATF rules such as pistol brace, blah, blah. Defund gender transition surgeries or gender-affirming care paid by taxpayer dollars. Block Biden's attempts to dismantle, demolish, remove, or damage existing border wall. Defund Biden's radical Green New Deal, the thing that never actually happened, that was proposed years ago that never actually happened. It goes on for a while. Prohibit funding for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Defund Anthony Fauci's gain-of-function research. What? Prohibit rules requiring biological boys to be allowed to compete against girls. Defund anti-American international organizations such as the World Health Organization. Eliminate funding to the anti-Israel United Nations Relief and Works Agency that funds Hamas and enemies of Israel. Prohibit purchases of American farmland by our adversaries like China. Prohibit funding, blah, 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 blah. Okay, there's a point to be made here about compromise. So the House Freedom Caucus represents a portion of the Republicans in the House. We can see signatures here. There's Lowen Boebert right there, Andrew Clyde, Jeff Duncan, Paul Gosar, that's the friend of Nick Fuentes, many highly reputable individuals, Scott Perry, Barry Moore, Tom Tiffany, one of the funniest names in the House, I would say. Lots of handwriting on display here. Lots of interesting stuff. What's your favorite signature? Lauren Boebert's signature, funnily enough, looks like the Disney logo, like with the very neat writing, but like the giant swoops on the capitals. It's very, very funny there. I think I sympathize most with the signature of Scott Desjarlis right here, if that's how you pronounce it. It probably isn't, which is like it just looks like a dickhead. What else here looks good? I like Troy Nels as well. Right here. That's pretty good. That's about how I write. Me for real. Yeah, me for real. The 7 Nels, 7 evil Nels you have to defeat to get your girlfriend. Right. So anyway, this House caucus is essentially saying, we, the Republicans, have the ability to once again throw a wrench into the gears and cogs of the American government by preventing a spending expansion before the partial government shutdown, right? So what wins do we want to secure? What do we want to extract from the Democrats while they're in a position where they feel the need to compromise. And the things that they have advocated for, which, demonstrate such a substantial and sincere interest in the well-being of the average American, is shit like ban gender transition, defund Alejandro Mayorkas, specifically defund the ATF, blah, 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 blah. This is basically just like a shotgun spread of stupid Republican culture war talking points. Like this is just like like, hey, what can we get them to concede on? You know what I mean? It's it's just like it's not very serious, but I think it stands as an extremely strong reminder of how futile compromise and bipartisanship with the Republicans are. Remember how just like 2 weeks ago, Biden did his master strategy of, oh, the governor of Texas is like openly defying me in a Supreme Court ruling by blocking federal agents from accessing the border and putting up like barbed wire fences and stuff. I'll respond to this situation by doing nothing and proposing a very far-right immigration bill. And then when they vote no on it, because they always vote no on stuff I propose, that means they're hypocrites. Not a great environment for trying to get along. How many people are part of the House Freedom Caucus? It's like a lot of them. 43 out of 435, a full 10% of the House of Representatives. The whole point of this is to shut down the government to trigger a recession and blame Biden for it. Yeah, well, shutting down the government wouldn't really trigger a recession. It would just cause like a bunch of broad issues, yeah. But yes, fundamentally, yes. It's fully a fifth of the Republicans in the House. By comparison, the Justice Dems are a lot weaker. This is like the opposite of the Justice Dems, I think. Kind of a rough comparison, but that's the... How many is the Justice Dems? Justice Dems are... Oh, God, yeah, I forgot, man. 12! The Justice Dems are 12 people, so that's cool. I think it was 20 at one point, but they got rocked in 2022. Yeah. They've been around for longer than Trump. Well, I can't talk. They originated mid-January 2015. During the crisis over the funding of the DHS in early 2015, the caucus offered 4 plans for resolution, but all were rejected by Republican leadership. The Freedom Caucus they emerged into existence at around the same time as Trump for the same reasons that Trump did, with the same rough goals as Trump. You can think of it, I guess, as the more like radical MAGA side of things on the House GOP. They have a lot of rabble-rousers. Not all of them are very politically effective, but yeah, I don't know. As always, Erin Reed did a wonderful job covering all of this in her article. I just didn't want to denigrate it by just reading it out loud.
You sent your representative to Washington to work on behalf of everyday Americans like you. But House Republicans spent the summer trying to divide us and failing to pass essential spending bills. Instead, they're trying to limit the health care you and your family can access, ban books and flags, and block enforcement of civil rights laws, all while risking the government grinding to a halt. Tell Congress to reject the politics of hate.
The annoying thing about ads like this is that ads that sound like this, I register them as propaganda and think they're lying to me. But they're not lying here. This is completely correct. This is a straightforwardly correct statement, Increasingly, Democrats and LGBTQ plus organizations have applied pressure on the Biden admin and Democrat leadership to not accept any deal that includes anti-LGBTQ plus riders. In a letter signed by 163 Democratic members of Congress, they state that bans on gender-affirming care, pride flags, DEI initiatives, and discrimination should not be on the table for negotiation, supported by the Human Rights Campaign. Well, that's good to know. Do we have the signatures? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, look, more signatures here than the GOP Freedom Caucus had. Look at that. Any especially distinctive signatures here? Is there anything here that I can just at a glance? Dean Phillips, this is a king signature right here. Gregorio Kilili Camacho over here. I like that. Is this meant to be Kilili, right? Like the middle, because like Kilili with the dots, right? I like that. I like that a lot. That's very like, I don't know, symbolic. This one looks like they're throwing up the horns. That's pretty cool. Like looking at signatures. And back up to the top. In addition to the riders listed above, several FY24 funding bills have additional anti-queer riders, including but not limited to A rider to defund the offices of special envoys, including those to advance the human rights of queer persons. A rider to prohibit federal funds for any international organization that promotes transgenderism. Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Education again. Would force institutions of higher education to allow students. Guys, they really want you dead. Like, dude, being a Democrat in Congress right now is just reading through like 16 riders and amendments proposed by your Republican colleagues every day, where it's like, yeah, we'll pass a bill that allows us to take the next sip of water that we need to live, but only if we can also, you know, reenact like anti-sodomy laws, you know, whatever. We urge you to stand with the queer community, reject any attempts to include anti-queer provisions in any final fiscal year 24 government funding deal. Well, hopefully it keeps, though it is likely that it'll keep. I doubt Joe Biden will sign off on anything like that. Like I said, guys, it's mostly been bad news lately. Though it is nice that there are so many Democrats pushing back against it.